Yeah.
Tell me a bit about that.
That was before we went anywhere. We had the horses there, and they in sections of 8. You did that section there, and that one done the section we did from Huskisson Bay to Kiama. And you was watching out onto the water for Japs or foreign. I never knew anything about it either until after the war. That there was, while in different sections, I don't know which sections it was, but anyhow they said there was seven boats sunk in that area. But we never seen it. The only thing that we saw, and we never ever found out what it was, but up in the hill was a light at night, and there was another one away out in the water. And they were light signals. Never ever could find where that was in the hill. And then we came back and we did the Sydney show, and they said we'd be doing away with the horses, so we had to come home. We come home, we got rid of the horses, and they gave us I forget now, 14 days I think, to get rid of the horses and come back to the camp. And our sergeant, he was a lieutenant then, and he come from Narandra, Big Blondie, as we used to call him. Everybody called him that. And we pulled up in Sydney to come home and take the horses home on the boat, on the train, and unload the Grongi. And somebody said to Big Blondie, "What have we got 14 days?" He said, 16 days, boy, 18 days, boy. He said, we're not going back till 18 days. Anyhow, when we finished up, all met up to come home, and we got back as far as Moss Vale, and there was no train stopping at Moss Vale, so we oiled the trains to come slow, so we jumped off there and walked in. When we got there, all we found was all our bags and stacked in the middle of the race course. We got them anyhow and sorted them out next morning on parade, all under open arrest. That was the last we heard of it. Yeah. And it wasn't very long then before they took us into camp again, and we trained in. We went from Wagga to Moss Vale with the horses, and they took the horses opposite there. Then we shifted from there to just out of Brisbane. Then they shipped us there to Kingaroy, from Kingaroy to Morgan, and we kept going up, and we went up to Brisbane, and then we went from Brisbane up to Cairns. They put us on the boat there, and they took us up to Cape York, and we put in quite a bit there, doing much the same, only on foot, or with the jeeps and so forth. And then when they brought us, we drove from Cape York to the place not very far out of Cairns, and we were on the boat again for the islands. In Morocco, we finished up in Morocco, the Dutch one.
42, are we?
That'd be about 42.
42, yes.
It's all 42. Then we come back from there, and it was the 43 when they shot us right up to Morotai and then from over there to Borneo. Around that area was what they called the Halmahera Islands, and there was lots and lots of it. Only small little bits of thing. When the armistice was signed, they had these ducks. I don't know whether you ever heard of them. I know the ducks. They're like a diamond cylinder with a motor in it and 4 wheels under it, and go into the water and set the propeller going. And these blokes, they said, "Oh, you boys want to go over and have a look at this other island?" "Oh yes, we must have a go." So we all piled up there one Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning actually, and went over to the island, and we got onto a bit of a coral rock it was. The boat could drive over it all right, and they drove in. And these boys might be interested in this, but as we got there, there was only about 25 people on this island, and I think it was 20 of them were kids. And they were, I don't know what ages they were, but anyhow, they had a band, and I thought, well, that's funny, a place for the bands. So they had all bamboo, and they made the band out of bamboo, and they were playing this tune of probably their own tree, and the bloke was with us, he was our cook, and he got out of the boat and he said, "Why don't you swing it, brother?" And do you know what they said played? "You Are My Sunshine," on these bands. And by Jesus, they played it beautiful. And they had their school, and this teacher was there was a Chinaman. I say there would be 3 acres in the whole island. That's how big it was. But there was a heck of a lot of those little islands that you could walk around them in a quarter of an hour. There's a few natives and so forth, but the funny part about it is most of the islands had a school teacher and they had a teacher. Yeah, they had this band and it took my eye. No, it was very good. Between Morocco and Tanamera and Hollandia in Dutch New Guinea. That was just after they started, the Japs started in Singapore. And we were in the way in the middle. Then the boys started over in Kokoda. But there's just the north of New Guinea, there's a heck of a lot of islands over there, New Britain and all that. There was troops on it all the time. It was the biggest trip we had on the boat was on the Yankee trip, on the American troop ship. It was on its maiden voyage, and they picked us up in Brisbane, and we went out to sea. It was 13 hours on the boat, and they brought us back to, was it Bena or by some name like that, and we were the first troops that crossed the equator in the Yankee ship, and you know what the Yanks is like, with bells ringing and lights burning flashing and all the rest of it, and some of that photos of little boys, they were in that. But the old Yankee was a good go. She was a beautiful big ship too. Oh, geez, she was a big ship. So, there's five decks in it, and complete cookhouse, full cookhouse, and these 5 layers up, hammocks or beds, and they were was a 10 to a hammock in the length. There was 50 to every bed. I don't know how many was on the boat, but oh God. Breakfast was 4 o'clock in the morning, and they were still giving you breakfast at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, and the midday. And then they'd start on another deck. They'd start for dinner. By the time they finished doing all the cooking and everything else, they were back to breakfast. Look out through the porthole when you went into your hammock. Oh yes, water, as far as you could see. Get up next morning, and didn't get up, you just wake up next morning. Same lot of water.
Day after day.
Yeah. It was 13 days from when we left Brisbane. We went right around the bottom end of New Guinea and come back up the other side or nearly to the end of it on the other end.